because we're going live. Hey, Anthony, how are you?
I was asking Glenn why he's smiling and he's in a good mood. That's so unusual.
It really is. But for once, I'm going to smile.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality.
Everybody, welcome to No Vacancy Live. I'm Glenn Hausman. That's Anthony Melchiori. Anthony, it's so great to see you as I'm sitting here at the incredible Boston Park Plaza.
Oh, wow. Boston Park Plaza. I'll be in Boston on Tuesday. You're seeing your son today?
I'll be seeing him tonight, so I'm looking forward to that.
That's why you're excited.
We're going to be going out to dinner, and then I'm going to be taking him to H Mart to buy some Asian groceries so he can have some good food up at his college. But before that, this afternoon, I'll be speaking on a panel at 2:15, just a little over 2 hours from us going live now at Worldwide ERC, speaking about short-term rentals and extended stay and where we are and where we're going in that side of the business. That's
well, have fun, my friend. And so what's going on today, brother?
Not too much. I'm very excited that I'm getting out there on the road and I'm talking to a lot of hoteliers. And one of the things I'm finding, Anthony, is that people that are working in hotels are busy and seem relatively happy, at least when it comes to treating their customers very nicely. I'm meeting so many people that have the spirit of hospitality all around.
Well, I think there's been a seismic shift in that employees are in charge, in the hotels that ran well and the management companies that ran well, they don't have a problem. But the ones that didn't run well have no choice but to take care of their employees because it's so hard to find employees.
Yeah, it is, and we're just waiting for our guest to pop on, and he must have gotten held up. But we're going to be talking today about how technology and AI can enhance the overall guest experience with somebody who's on the ground doing that. But Anthony, I'm very curious as to how you're starting to think about technology and AI.
Yeah. I was saying yesterday, I tried some AI voiceover and it didn't work. It didn't sound like me. And again, I just did it to play with. It didn't work. I'm using AI in when I'm like trying to write something that, maybe a complicated contract. Like I'll take a contract and the things I'm concerned about, I'll take parts of that contract, put it in. And I don't use ChatGPT as much as I use Bard Google. Bard Google I find is better. So I put it in Bard Google and then it'll say, it'll give me some of the changes. And then I'll take the entire contract, put it in and go, is there anything in there that I should concern myself with? So I use it like things like that. And, but that's it. What's so funny is all these Hollywood people are going into AI and doing, at high school, there's a new trend on TikTok or something. Yeah. The high school AI and kind of what they look like in high school or whatever.
Right.
And, it's funny because they're on strike because they're afraid AI is going to take their jobs and they're all using it.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. I don't like the whole idea of this AI taking over, jobs of people for, especially in creative fields. And maybe I'm a little biased because I'm technically in a creative field, but I can't
well, I'll tell you where, if I was a GM, this is where I would use it. I would use it in trying to figure out how to do my schedules better and more flexible for my staff. If I was a management company, I would be able to use my staffing models to be able to have flex scheduling across my hotels and who lives closer to this hotel and this hotel, and what their preferences are. It could do amazing. There was amazing things. There was a commercial about the NFL scheduling the year for the NFL.
Right.
And one of the AI programs, I think it's AWS from Amazon, they basically help them schedule the entire NFL season, which usually takes weeks, in a couple hours.
Right.
So if I took my P&L, if I was GM, and I put some metrics in there that says, this is what it should look like, where am I trending? So there's a lot of different ways to use it to be really helpful and be really, really efficient. especially if you're, revenue manager, salesperson. There's just tremendous, and again, soon it's going to be like Google or, like Uber. It's just going to be part of us.
Yeah, it will be. And I would really like to see some of this technology make our lives easier. And all technology is purported to make our lives easier. But over the last 30 years, I think life has just become a lot more complicated as all these technologies have come into play.
Well, it's not that it's complicated. We're making it complicated, right? It's because we're allowing ourselves to be tied to it. I took off a couple of days. I'm still kind of taking off of social media. I'll post some stuff, but it's me. It's like, me. I don't do emails very well. If you want to get in touch with me, send me a text. I'll do emails at the end of the day, and because I don't want to be tied to emails, I don't want to be tied to social media, and so we all have to make choices. And there's one of the reasons, and I've said this many times, travel agents on the uptick is because there's too many options.
Yeah.
And people get confused, especially for European travel. Almost everybody I knew that went to Europe this year used a travel agent.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense, Anthony, because I think what we're seeing now is people want to get out there and want to be more adventurous, but booking things and the experiences, particularly in an experience economy where you don't want to miss out on the things you don't know that you don't know, having that representative is great. As a matter of fact, I just got an email from the IATA people. They're doing a big press conference next week to talk about a lot of this stuff. So I'm going to listen in on that. And then
explain to people what IATA.
The International Association of Travel Agents. Every agent out there, it has to be part of this organization. They get a specific number that shows who they are, and it kind of links them into the system. But really, the overall organization, kind of like every other association, kind of sets the tone for what's going on. They do lobbying. They make sure that people understand what the trends are, and they do a lot of thought leadership as well.
Right. And if you don't have that, you don't get your 10%.
Right.
And the general manager, you get a report typically in a 500 room hotel, about that big at the end of the month with your IATA commissions. And I'd like to know a GM that goes through every single commission and cross references to make sure they're paying out the right amount of commissions.
I can't imagine that.
There's so many fees in a hotel that if you don't have somebody literally working on it, it's probably a 2-3 man job or woman job, just cross-referencing all your charges, all your royalties from your franchise, all your royalties from marketing, all your royalties from IATA. I mean, if you're not literally going line by line, man, you can be losing out thousands and thousands of dollars.
And that brings it back to that AI thing, right? Because if you have the right technology in place, you won't miss those things. But on the larger issue of travel agents, Anthony, I think we have to remember that there's a whole generation of people that have come up now with the ability to book their own travel. So we grew up in a year of you have to go to a travel agent to get an airplane ticket. You could not really do it any other way. So that was much more of a transactional type of experience for our generation in travel agents. I think travel agents have done a good job at transforming themselves into travel advisors now, really understanding what an experience is like and translating that into excitement that gets people to want to book itineraries that they wouldn't really be able to figure out on their own.
No wonder you have a big forehead. You're very smart.
Well, hey, listen, maybe one day I'll have a forehead as big as you, but for right now, I'm still,
you're not lucky.
These players are holding on.
You're not lucky, and you don't have a big forehead. But listen, everything's changed. I know we're going to do a show ourselves on this topic, but I just want to ask I just want to touch base because I want people to think that we're out of touch here. And I know you've been putting a lot on your social media and LinkedIn stuff, but is Choice buying Windom?
Not willingly. So the reason why I didn't want to discuss this in detail is because I want to make sure that we understand all the nuances before we explain it to our audience or take a specific position on it. But from what I can speak to right now is Choice came up with the offer and Windom and Windom's board said, hey, forget about it. We're not doing this sort of a thing. AATA has come out against it as well. And there's a lot of chatter within the hospitality community that they think that there will be too much consolidation and it won't be good for owners. So that's kind of the big issue as we see it. To be fair to Choice, they've put up a microsite that is geared towards the benefits of a combined company. And I also understand that they would divest certain brands as well if a combined company was to be. But I think that's all I know. If I say any more, it'll start to get a little bit too dangerous, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's all the audience needs at this point.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to find out how it is. But Anthony, looking at the larger issue, and I'm sorry for those of you who are waiting to hear our great guest today, he's having technical issues. If he does not seem to get that together, we'll get him back in another day. Oh, he's trying again. That'll be great. So, I think we're close. So we'll see in a minute.
Did you take happy pills this morning?
I'm just excited. Waiting to see how he looks. He's looking great. So he's going to show us off if he.
Right. How many hours you slept last night? 9.
You know what? I think I actually did. I managed to, dude, this is the craziest thing. I didn't get out of bed until 7 o'clock this morning.
Yeah. And you went to sleep relatively early.
I think I stayed up late. I stayed up to like 10:30.
All right. So you got 9 hours of sleep, like I said. I can tell.
9 hours would be nice if I wasn't up every hour and a half or something like that.
I had to be up. I had 2 hours of sleep. I had to be up at 4:45, go in the city and then come home.
Yeah, that's for sure. So while we're hey Vaughn, as soon as you're ready, just give us a thumbs up and we'll get you on. But it looks like they're still playing with the.
So what part of Boston are you in again?
I'm downtown. I'm at the Boston Park Plaza, which is a great historic hotel. I encourage all of you. I don't remember when it ran, but last winter I was here and we did a great show with Chris Shimkus, who's who runs food and beverage over here. I'm forgetting his exact title because I think he got promoted. I'm hoping to catch up with him later and say hello. But we talked all about, what people expect from events today and what they're really looking for.
Are you going to be able to go down? Are you going to eat at Little Italy today? Boston Little Italy?
I am not. No.
What are you eating?
I don't know the name of it. My son has a place that he would like for me to take him to this evening. So that's where I will be going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boston Little Italy I love, but it's a little touristy.
Yeah. I hate to say this, but my wife and boys were up here without me last spring or something like that, and they did not like the restaurant that they went to in Little Italy, which was completely shocking.
Okay, listen, I'm sure there's restaurants that aren't good, but it's just a great little. I just love Boston, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to be up there. I'm going to be up there twice, 2 days next week.
Oh, that's great. I'll just tag you as we go.
Yeah. When are you leaving?
I'll leave it tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay. And then when are you traveling again? Sunday night?
No, this is the best. I'm not going to be traveling for the next few weeks. I don't have to leave again till November 6th. And I please everybody reach out to me because November 8th in Orlando, I'm participating in and the Master of Ceremonies at an amazing golf tournament to help Darkness to Hope, an organization that is out there to help prevent, educate, and help the victims of human trafficking. So that'll be great.
That's great.
Yeah. All right. We got our guest. And reach out to me on that. All right. Here we go. Vaughn, we're going to bring you in. You got to unmute your mic. And then we'll bring you in. Can you hit that unmute button and I'll bring you in? All right.
This is riveting podcasting.
I know, seriously. This is why people tune in every single day. And the greatest part, Anthony, is if we were good enough at our job, no one will know that we've been tap dancing here for 14 minutes. You know?
We haven't been tap dancing.
We're the Savion Glover of podcasting.
Oh, man, God. I wonder how many people out there know who that is.
We're the Gregory Hines of podcasting.
Yeah, he was. They definitely don't know who that is.
No, but one of the coolest tap dance videos I ever saw was with Gregory Hines and Savion Glover together. Gregory Hines was an amazing song and dance man kind of guy. He was really popular in the 70s and 80s. I believe he did that movie with Mikhail Baryshnikov about ballet and something like that. White Knight?
Did you ever see in the 20s the Johnson brothers? I believe they are.
I'm not sure about that.
Oh my God, they're amazing.
Yeah.
And that's where Gregory Hines got his influence from.
Well, I will tell you, my grandfather was a tap dancer, and he wrote jokes and did stuff like Henny Youngman and stuff like that before
Did he
World War
realize?
II.
Is that why you're so funny and so you have such great rhythm?
I must, if I got any of it, it was from his genes. But he came back from World War II, apparently a very changed human being, and did not engage in fun and frivolity after that.
Yeah, I imagine.
So I knew him as a kind, gentle old man, but I never saw him as funny. And when he got Alzheimer's disease at some point, and at that point he would start tap dancing and stuff from like back in the day, and that was really sweet to see.
Okay, so do we have a guest or we don't have a guest?
I don't know. Vaughn, could you guys give me the thumbs up? You can't. You got to unmute your mic, bro. Here he is, Vaughn Davis.
I'm here.
Yes.
So you're a tap dancer too, I can tell.
Yeah, I actually have my tap dance shoes on right now.
With all of these computer issues, you should have just gotten some AI, Vaughn, to come over here and do the show with us.
Interestingly enough, we should have asked our AI to handle this.
It's funny. It's the second guest in a row that had alcohol within an arm's reach.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to
Dream
Hollywood.
To drink, and they're like, I can't believe this is going so poorly. Glug, glug, glug.
Yeah. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. How are you, gents? Thanks so much.
So
for
let's
having
give
me.
Vaughn Davis, general manager of the Dream Hollywood Hotel, West Hollywood Hotel. Was it West Hollywood or Hollywood? I'm sorry.
We're in the heart of Hollywood.
Right, heart Hollywood, the Dream Hollywood Hotel over there. Very excited to have you on the show today. So thanks for being here. Before we get into our topic, which is about using technology and AI for the guest experience, how are things going in Hollywood and downtown LA as far as the hospitality business is concerned?
Yeah, I think we're in a very aggressive rebound period. Things are going well. We're not seeing numbers, of course, similar to 2019, but we are seeing a bit of an uptick in occupancy. ADR is down slightly, about 7%. But we're hyper-focused on stimulating and driving some new traffic to this market.
And not to start on a kind of a controversial note, but
I know where you're going.
Why not? You know where I'm going.
Where are you going right now? Where is he going?
Do you think that legislation will pass in reference to the hotels and what they will do with the homeless?
Hold on, let me, Vaughn, before you say that, let me just tee up everybody, right? So there's a vote in March 2024 for Los Angeles residents on whether to require all local hotels to house homeless people next to paying guests as a measure proposed by Unite Here, a labor union representing LA workers. So if the initiative passes, hoteliers like Vaughn or someone on his team will have to call the city at like 2 p.m. and say, we have X amount of rooms open, and they will send over people that they want to put there for the night. Now, there's a lot of homeless people that might just have, are just homeless, food insecurity needs, a lot of single women with children. But the big concern is someone with mental illness could be put into a hotel, or some folks that are up to no good could be put into the hotel, which could cause guest dissatisfaction and crater the entire hospitality industry in LA, says the American Hotel and Lodging Association. Vaughn, now that I've teed it up, we'd love to hear what you think.
So we're not dipping our toes in the water. We're just jumping.
Jumping right in, man. Jumping right in.
Yeah, no. So I mean, I don't have my crystal ball out, so I'm not quite sure if it'll pass or not. But I can speak to some of the efforts that we've done as part of the Los Angeles Tourism Board, the Hollywood Partnership, and the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce, and Hollywood Forward. So I think it was back in 2020, we had $116 million approved to launch the first pilot called Hollywood 2.0. And it has a program in place where it rehabilitates the unhoused, finds them a place to live, give them the soft skills, the hard skills,
awesome,
get them prepared for the workforce, and then, release them back, hopefully, into a healthy situation. Mayor Bass has had some very aggressive measures in place, which have been successful thus far, something called Inside Safe, where the city is either acquiring or leasing motels or hotels and then housing the unhoused within those units. specifically. So you don't have to worry about them being integrated with your hotel guests that are staying with you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep, I hear you.
We're just listening.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, that's something that actually has been extremely important to me from my arrival. And this is Los Angeles. I'm specifically in Hollywood. I think there's no better place on earth. And seeing the plight of the unhoused really touched me deep to the core of my soul. And we've been working very closely on finding a way to attack the challenges, but also prepare them for the next chapter in their lives. And Inside Safe has been a great attempt at doing so, and I think it's been very successful so far. There's been countless amounts of encampments that have been cleared, and unhoused individuals that are actually given a place to live and stay.
Excellent.
I will never use the homeless word again after listening to you speak so articulately. It will always be unhoused. So that's beautiful, and I'm really glad that your efforts being made. Are you not hearing us?
Yeah, Vaughn, can you hear us?
Hold on.
Why don't you take him out and put him back in?
All right, give us a thumbs up when if you come back.
And your video is very difficult. And
I think his internet is not so good.
Yeah,
today.
your internet's really struggling.
Yeah. So, it's an interesting issue, and I think that people are conflating the issues. What Vaughn's speaking to is really important. We need to care for members in society, right? And I think that some of the major cities have fallen short on their responsibility to protect those people and the greater public at large.
Absolutely.
I would like to see more of an emphasis on mental health programs. I love what Vaughn is talking about, because there's a lot of people right now that are unhoused. See, we're already changing our vocabulary over here, because of economic circumstances, because rents have gone so high in certain cities that it's become impossible for people to live there. We see a lot of New Yorkers who have hotel jobs have to commute an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours sometimes, right, each way to live in an area that's affordable to them. So that's a real problem. But another real problem, and that's being pointed out by the AATA, is we have let down people with mental illness in the country, and they are wandering the streets. And to put those individuals in a hotel with somebody who's a paying customer is not right for the person paying, and it's absolutely not right for the person who has mental illness, because you're not addressing the problem. You're trying to cover up a symptom for a day.
100%. And I don't think anybody can articulate it better than he just did, and you can really feel his heart is in the right place. So are you able
Vaughn, are you good to come back on? Are we good over there?
Thumbs up, please, or thumbs down?
Yeah, I don't. Thumbs up. All right, Vaughn. Great to see you. Please unmute your mic again, and then we can start. But your internet's not so great. How are you now?
I'm fantastic. Can you hear me?
All right, good. Yeah. We'll give this one more. We'll give this one more shot. If it craps out on us, then we'll just call it quits for the day. All right.
So, but I love what you said, and I love where your heart is, and in meeting you for just a few minutes on this call, between the way you dress, to carry yourself, how articulate you are, your beautiful heart. I'm sure you're wicked smart. Who better than you to run that hotel, and really, because the hotel business is really a great way to bring everybody together. Whether you were once unhoused, however you grew up, and really give people an opportunity. And it seems that you have that spirit throughout you.
Yes, thank you so much. It's an honor to be in a group of super geniuses and just talking about hotels and just tourism in general and just life, because hotels are deeply embedded with life, right? I say they are a living life science experiment or project. Everything that happens in the world outside of your building can easily happen within your building. So it's really important that you edify your community, because we are at the forefront of community building. And your surrounding community and making sure that is uplifted and beautified is something that can only add value to your hotel and to your hotel guests. And
how did you get in the hotel business?
That's a really funny story. So I started in 2010 with the Gansevoort Park Avenue.
Oh, goodness.
And
You
Yeah,
know the
I
hotel
had.
well. Know the hotel well.
Oh yeah, that was my original baby. Fell in love with the industry. Started as a Bellman manager in training with phenomenal mentors. I still have them to this day. And quickly,
Mention some of them. I want to know if I know them. Mention some of them.
Michael Lindenbaum,
Okay.
Corinne Capano, Jorge Trevino, Jamie
Wow.
Sabatier, Ian Carter.
I know a bunch of those names.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Arash. I mean, the list goes on, guys. There's
Yeah.
absolute legends. I could pick up my phone at any given moment and ask a question, and they'll give me the answer to help me be successful. And then on the food and beverage side, it's a lot of the Tao Group guys, you know, the Noah Tepperbergs, Jason Strauss, and Andrew Goldberg, Matt Strauss. Those guys guided me along the way so I could understand the food and beverage side of the business. And, you know, Teresa Villagrana helped me with revenue. And, you know, guys like Darren Bernstein and Susie from Gans Report also helped me with sales and marketing.
Yeah, but you know, you the way you said that, in the spirit you said it, you were willing to learn. You were willing to be mentored. You were coachable, as they say, right?
Right.
And that's why they will pour their hearts into you, because you're coachable. And if you're coachable in this business, you can go in the Hall of Fame.
Correct. Yeah, you have to be hungry, man. When I first accepted the job, I had initially interviewed for a front desk position.
Right.
And Michael, during the interview, was like, I don't have a front desk position, but I want to hire you. Do you want to be a bellman? And I'm like, well, I just graduated with a bachelor's degree in political science, and I am from South America. I'm Guyanese. My mom's not going to let me back in the house. he said, that's great. Do you want the job? Said, okay.
And then did he tell you how much you were going to make? And then you said, I'll take the job.
Oh, I knew it was $11 an hour.
Oh, wow.
That,
It was,
that
how would
did
it,
not,
how would
that
it tip?
did not help. That
How
did
would
not
it
help
tip?
with the decision making. Well,
How
I'll
would
tell
it
you
tip?
exactly what I did. I'll tell you exactly what I did. So he later on down the line, 5 years later, he explained why he did it. He wanted me to learn from the ground up, similar to how he learned. And I'm super appreciative of that, because there's not one job classification within the hotel industry that I don't understand intrinsically. But I took the job, $11 an hour. At that point, I think I was married for 1 year with an 8-month-old or a 6-month-old.
Wow.
And my wife was in school, so I had to go back home and say I was making $11 an hour, fresh out of college. So I figured it out. I said, all right, what do I need to do to make the income that can support my family and help us get to the next level of us, right? So I set a tip threshold for myself. So a minimum of $100 a day I had to make. And I would average anywhere between $100 and $150 per day in tips. I was also acting and modeling at the time, so it gave me great flexibility. And that was one of the reasons that I jumped into the industry as well. It's an understanding
Right.
that you had all this flexibility so that you can go to castings, you can go to shoots, or whatever you need to do. So I was able to supplement my hotel income with other streams, and all ended up working out in the long run. Quickly,
So I got a question about you setting this $100 tip thing.
Yep.
So were other people making that kind of thing, or by you having that mental goal, it willed it into existence? How does that work?
I tell people all the time, write your goals down. Speaking into existence, put it in the universe. Be careful who you speak to about your goals and your dreams. Not everyone has your best interest at heart.
Yeah.
But no, the other bellmen were not making that on an average. We would always connect at the end of the day in the bell closet. It's like, all right, let's count the stack.
Yeah.
and the competition was on.
Yeah.
And we would count it at the same time. And then if I won, which was the majority of the time, it was like,
yeah,
you gotta deploy this organic approach to guests. And I was Meisner trained at the time, so I learned how to apply Meisner training from acting into being a bellman. So I was alive in the scene at all times. So it never came across as phony or fake. It was always organic, and I connected with guests, and they never felt like the communication was rushed. I went above and beyond, delivered greatness. If I see you going out for a jog at 7 a.m., when you return at maybe 7:45, I have a bottle of water with a washcloth waiting for you, and maybe a protein shake if I know you like your protein shakes.
Right.
And then I just wanted to make sure that I took it to the next level in the industry. Everything that I do, I aspire to really set the standard. My grandmother always told me, anything that's worth doing is worth doing well. So why not be the best bellman in the history of the world ever?
Yeah.
That was how I jumped into that role, and I approached it on a daily basis. And it was interesting because randomly on a Saturday, some individuals walked in and they said, I wanted a tour. And there was no one from the sales team there. And I'm green, I'm a bellman. I don't know that you're supposed to take their email and, connect them with the sales team, and the sales team will do the tour on Monday or Tuesday, whenever they're around. But I looked around and said, then no one needs help with their bags. I could do a tour. Why not?
Yeah.
So I executed the tour, and we ended up closing a big piece of business for the hotel, both rooms and event spaces. And
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know why that would be a policy to wait till Monday. I would kill somebody if they waited till Monday, because you never know. I actually realized I stayed in that hotel last year during Black Friday, and I asked the concierge, where's a good place? And they introduced me to the Smith. The Smith is right like 2 blocks away, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Fun times.
Yeah, the concierge was very lovely.
Oh, yeah. That's a beautiful property. I met a lot of the individuals that I'm connected to now in my role that are supporting the hotel through strategic partnerships and all the activations that we do at that property. I don't want to drop those names, but they're notable names. You can.
So how long did it take? How long did you go from a bellman to a GM?
Yeah, so that's a really interesting story too. It was probably after 3 months they offered me to be a front desk agent, and then I took a look at how much the front desk agents were making hourly, and the fact that they were tethered to the desk, and they didn't have the ability or the autonomy to move throughout the property and connect with guests in the restaurant, at the pool, at the gym, in the lobby. So it just didn't make sense to me to take it was close to a $50,000 a year pay cut to take that role. Yeah, less tips, right? Less autonomy, less freedom.
Yeah, it's the same thing that happens in the casino business, where you have the people that are running the games at the tables, but then they don't want to become pit bosses because they go from tips to hourly and wind up making a fraction of what they made before. But what you're going to say is maybe it's a necessary step in order to get farther along in your career.
I am. And so what I did when we had to work the overnight shifts, I would spend the downtime on those shifts learning all of the systems and learning all the operations, studying up on all the standard operating procedures so I can prepare myself for the next step. So every role that I've had, I've mastered it. Then I started preparing for the next role while I was in that role.
Right.
So when the time came around where I finally accepted the promotion, which was actually a dream downtown on 16th and 9th.
Yep. In New York City.
Yeah. It was a position that made sense.
Yeah.
Role.
So how many years? I want to know years. Bellman to GM. How many years?
Bellman to GM was 8 years.
Okay.
I could have done it in 6.
Okay. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We preach that you can go from a bellman to GM like that in 6 years. What other company can you go from an entry level, not knowing where the roof is and where the elevator is, to running the joint, making 6 figures and better, and doing really well, and knowing everyone in the industry, and having the platform that you now have, and the connections you now have? You are a living, breathing testament to everything we say every day on the show.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love this industry. This is a lot of fun. Every day you come in, there's something new. And we've embarked on a new frontier as of April. So I'm now the managing director of Dream Hollywood, but I also serve in a capacity as the CEO of Relevant Hospitality. We manage and we own Dream Hollywood. And we also own and manage Mother Wolf and Citizen News. Mud
cool.
Wolf is one of the hottest restaurants here in Los Angeles with a 6-month waiting list. And it's really fascinating because all of those relationships that I built starting in my career are now starting to bear fruit. And I'm getting phone calls all the time. Hey, I have a hotel deal in the Bordeaux region of France, and we'd love for you to take a look to see if it's something that you're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, the Bordeaux region? Am I really doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah, we want you to do it because you've created all these experiences,
Right.
and you have a track record of just setting the tone and the standards within the hospitality industry.
Mm-hmm.
So we want you to program and operate and run it. And even calls from, Abu Dhabi and Saudi Arabia and Rwanda, Nigeria. There's just, my phone never stops. So
yeah, you know what? And it's a testament. It's a testament to your hard work. So one of the things I want to do is, you're obviously intelligent. You went to college, but more than that, you busted your butt. You learned everything you learned. People love you. You have a great personality. You're motivated. But one of the things that's important to me is style, the way you show up, right? The way you show up matters. Everybody watches you. So obviously, people that are listening, he's wearing a beautiful hat, beautiful bow tie. It looks like a tweed jacket, white shirt. He looks absolutely like he came off the cover of Vogue. How important is your style to your success?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I do a lot of case studies, specifically on myself, where...
Well, I do a lot of basket case studies on myself.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
So with the Gansevoort, ultra luxury, right? You have to always shave your beard.
Yep.
But unfortunately, for my type of skin and my hair that grows on my face, if I shave too close, I'm going to have ingrown hair, and it's not going to look as good as you'd like for me to look.
Right.
So I made this active approach towards this case study where, okay, how can I be as clean shaven, the freshest haircut, dress as neatly as possible, and connect with guests, versus if I grew my beard out and I didn't cut my hair, how would the guests receive me? And I think what a lot of people miss with the hospitality industry is that there's part of the 5 senses of the guest experience. Sight, we have to look good, just like the property has to look good. We have to be individuals who look like we have it all buttoned up and all together, because that then sends a sentiment to the guest that states, okay, everything on my stay is under control because this guy or this woman seems like they have it all together. And within that case study, I realized that my tips were less and the guest engagement was less when I wasn't as put together. And since that day, I said, okay, let's do this thing. We're going to start setting the standard with fashion and making sure that we always look that we have it all together, so that the guests have that comfort when they connect with us initially, because it's their first impression. It's their first impression of you. It's their first impression of the hotel and their first impression of the experience.
Yeah, people can put a lot of money into the building, furniture, decor, paint, wallpaper, everything, carpet. You are part of the design, right? So
Correct.
I always say you've got to be part of the design. And if I notice you that is kind of not within the design, then there's something askew. So you just put it beautifully, and you just have to, I don't know how, some people are just born to do this job. You were born to do this job. Your mentality, and we've done 802 shows, 4 shows together, me and Glenn. So Glenn knows me better than most people, and he know everything you just said is something that I preach from rooftops, and in my book, and then on my TV shows, and on my speaking gigs, and in my consulting business. You can't fake this business, and everything's important. When I was doing Hotel Impossible and I was chasing bed bugs, it was very important to me to be in beautiful suits and beautiful ties, because I didn't want people to associate me with that. So now I'm associated with, that's the tie guy. That's the suit guy. That guy knows how to wear a suit. That guy knows how to wear a tie. And it's so critically important. So that's why I was very thoughtful in the way I asked the question about your outfits, because I could tell that that was part of everything. That can't be just it. You can't just look good. You got to have it all.
Right.
But if you
Right.
have it all and don't have that, that puts you back.
Right. I mean, we always have to be in a constant state of improvement. All right. You know, we always say 1% better every day, but why not maximize it? Maybe, 5% this day, 10% the next day, whatever works. You just have to get better.
I always say
And
the only thing you have to do is be better than you were yesterday.
correct. And you have to be a master of your craft. Anything you do, any industry that you're in, you have to just stay at the forefront of innovation and make sure you're learning exactly what's happening, what the changes are. We're in an ever-changing world. The planet, moves for a reason. So
Right.
nothing is static. Everything is dynamic. And if you stay static, you get left behind. And we have an internal motto where we always say, we never want to be the Blockbuster. We want to be the Netflix. So we apply that into every facet of our lives. And you are an extension of the brand, where you're also building your own brand within the industry. As guests come and stay, they're going to then recommend the hotel, and they're going to say, the guy with the hat in the suit and the bow tie, don't remember his name, but he's the best. Right. And that also ties into peak end rule, which is something that we also subscribe to here. You only remember the peak, which could be the best or the worst, and the end of the experience. That's it.
Right.
So whilst building the guest journey and the service culture, it's super important that first initial experience of the guest, the moment they arrive to the hotel, is perfect.
I love it.
And it also ties back into the 5 senses of the guest experience, which we have audited, and we've created programming around each and every one of the 5 senses of the guest experience, even to the point where the beats per minute in the music and the frequency that's being pumped into the music has been cultivated by the team. So,
wow.
If you're checking out and you probably didn't have a good stay, that doesn't really matter, because the music is going to make you feel good.
Right.
Then the team is going to have to recover. But the moment you get out of that room and you get in that elevator, there's just high energy, positive music that's pumping through you. So the time you get down to the first floor and you get to the front desk, you're not as angry as you would have been. And now our team is going to be hyper-focused on guest recovery, because at the end of the day, I always tell the team, no guest leaves unhappy. We like to preach joie de vivre, which is the joy of life. Every time you enter our hotels, you should leave with a new lease on life, a new outtake on life. And that's the kind of transformative experiences that we look to deliver to our guests, because it's really serious, man. Like, we don't really understand how powerful this industry is and what we do. My wife is a physician assistant. We always say, have an internal joke. She's in healthcare. So you have hospitals and hospitality, right? They heal with different methods.
Right.
We heal with different methods. People could be going through a death in the family, an anniversary, on the verge of divorce, happy birthday, first birthday you've seen your friends from high school for the first time, bachelorette party, whatever it is. When they come to the hotel, they're looking for a transformative experience, and it's up to us to deliver that. And that to me is extremely powerful.
Yeah.
I've had guests. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Glenn, if you let me just go off on a little.
Oh yeah.
There was a Bellman, Alan Lee, who worked for me years ago, and he didn't want to be promoted to supervisor because he liked the money as a bellman. He didn't want to be a bell captain, and he wanted to stay there. And I said, "You're the smartest guy I've ever met. You need to be promoted." I walked him around Bryant Park. I got to get him on this podcast. Walking around Bryant Park, I said some choice Brooklyn words to him. I said, "You got to take the job." He eventually took the job, gets promoted to director of housekeeping, gets promoted. I leave, promoted. You know what he's doing today? And the reason I bring this up, because it was at the beginning when hospitals were thinking about service culture.
Yeah, right.
And they hired him to be the director of service or something. You know what he is today? He is the president of one of the largest hospitals in New Jersey. He's the president. Okay. And it's like, to this day, I can't believe that and he'll say to me, I talked to him through LinkedIn recently, and he'll say that conversation made a big difference in his life. So you have you're saying all the things that we preach, and you're saying everything that's right. And, I can retire now because there's another person to come up behind me to say everything I say. So I'm done. I'm irrelevant. Thank you for making me irrelevant.
I love it. I love it. Well, look, if I could pick your brain at any time offline, please feel free to
anytime,
upload all the data.
And Glenn knows that that's true.
Yep.
I probably take calls. Yesterday, I took 3 calls from kids in college, and I will 100% mentor people. But I was mentoring somebody yesterday, I won't mention, and I told them how important appearance is. That if you what they say, you don't dress for the job you have, you dress for the job you want.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And, being intelligent and having a positive attitude is part of it. But when you're dealing with guests at the level that you're dealing with guests, a lot of those people bought it, sold it, invented it. You need to look like them. They need to feel that you're part of this hotel and you're part of this, and you got to like dress where they're like, okay, he's really smart. He's really intelligent. Oh, and plus the guy may have more money than I do. Right. You gotta look the part, man. When I say, Glenn, you can't be expensive if you don't look expensive.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. And now imagine if a billionaire is staying in your hotel and they walk up to you and they want to know what's the best restaurant to go to in the neighborhood. They're going to look at your attire. It doesn't have to be a billionaire. It could be anyone, but just using it as an example, they're going to look at your attire and they're going to start to build out a shadow profile of you. Mm-hmm. Like, is this the person that's going to know where to send me? Right. And that's why it's really important to look the part, but you also have to have the substance, which you mentioned. That's why I always preach learning your craft. And I learned that through playing football, tackle football for a very long time. As a wide receiver, you have to learn your craft. I needed to work on all my releases, working on hand placement, working on reading coverages, how to expose coverages, communication with the quarterback, communication with the OC. Like, really work on every aspect of what you do, master it, and move on to the next step. In my modeling career, I learned a valuable lesson when I signed with MMG, and I had a casting with Nike, and I was just like, I'm just going to wear whatever to the casting. And my agent goes, no. Do you have Nike apparel? I was like, yeah. Do you have Nike shirts and shorts? I was like, yeah. Wear that. And then I had a light bulb moment. Aha. So every casting from that point on, I would wear whatever the brand was or whatever the script stated,
right?
The role that I needed to be. I would start to dress to portray that image that I knew the director and the casting director wanted for that position or role.
Right.
So you've already removed a massive barrier to entry. Because in their minds, in their eyes, okay, looks the part. Now, when he or she opens their mouth, let's see if they can deliver their lines.
Just by chance, do you know a guy named Noah Teicher?
No, I'm not familiar, unfortunately.
He's a model too, and he's about your age. I just thought maybe you would know him.
So I can say this name because he's okay with it. But Tyson Beckford was the one that paved the way for me, and used to put me under his wings in New York City and invite me out to when I was his little brother. So, I mean, I'm 6 feet tall at that time and probably about 210 pounds.
Right.
Coming right out of football, right? Like, we don't walk the runway. Those guys are about 6'2", maybe 170, 175.
Yeah.
And
he's
Tyson
a good mentor to have.
I couldn't have asked for a better mentor within that field. And there's a young up and comer that I want everyone to focus on. I actually mentor this individual, great guy. His name is Broderick Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
He's the next version of Tyson, man, and beyond.
Wow,
that's awesome. All right, so we didn't get to the topic that we were supposed to do today. So Vaughn, we're gonna have to get you back to talk about how tech and AI are enhancing the guest experience. But I'll tell you what I love about doing this show is stumbling onto stories that we didn't expect to tell, but absolutely loved. And hearing your journey today was not only a breath of fresh air, but really give people a template from which they too can find success in their careers. Right, Anthony?
Yeah, and you know what? You're authentic. There's too many people out there that are full of shit and that are
Yeah.
on social media trying to be you. You are not trying to be cool. You're cool. You're not trying to be relevant. You're relevant. You're not trying to be smart. You are smart. And people say to me, again, I was mentoring somebody yesterday. It's like, how do I do kind of what you do? And I was like, you got to find what you want to do and do it in the style that you do it, and then hope that people gravitate to that. Okay. But if you try to mix it up to gravitate to what they want, you may not be the person to give them what they want. Right. There's a guy that's a friend of the show and a friend of ours, Brian Newman, who happens to be Lady Gaga's band leader that we're both friends with. And this man invented the word cool. If anybody I know ever tried to be 1% of Brian Newman, look him up. He's married to the number one burlesque dancer in the country. He's Lady Gaga's best friend. He's the best trumpet player. He's a brilliant, wonderful soul. If anybody tried to be him for 1 second, they would look like a fool. And so you're authentically you. And it's really such a pleasure, and hopefully we'll stay friends. And anything I can do for you, I'd be happy to. You're a breath of fresh air for this industry. There they are. You're a breath of fresh air for young people coming up, and you're a proven example of within 6 years you were a GM, and you weren't GM of a crappy hotel. You were a GM that was would be hard for anybody to get that job.
And it's a big thank you to my mentors and my mom.
Well, and I was going to say, and your family, and
Yeah, my mom instilled this work ethic. We can get into her story at a different time, but she's a legend in her own right. But I did want to mention one quick thing. Daniel Day-Lewis stayed at the Gansevoort way back when I was there, and he taught me a very valuable lesson. I asked him if he was a Meisner trained or method trained. Like, what are you? Everyone says you're method. And he goes, Vaughn, I'm none of them. I'm me.
Right.
I learned from every single teacher,
Right.
and I took what worked for me,
Mm-hmm.
and then I amplified it.
Yep. Beautiful. I love it. All right, Vaughn, thank you so much for being here. We will get you back. It looks like perfect timing because he froze up. So thank you, Anthony. What a great show today, right?
You know what? I'm sorry, but like when you have that kind of talent and you gotta talk about it, and you gotta really elevate it and let people know there's no shortcuts, man. There's a fast track, but there's no shortcuts.
Yeah, you got that right. Hey, if you want to fast track and get a shortcut, come see me. I'm going over to the convention center right now to be on a panel, so that'll be fun. But assuming you're not going to be able to do that, why not follow us? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and of course, visit novacancynews.com. Subscribe to our audio podcast feed wherever you get your shows. Please friend us, like us, all those good things. And remember, everybody, you've got one life, so blaze on, and
Be kind to yourself.
see y'all next week when I'm home.